So Reesa Teesa has taken the internet by storm. Regardless of how you feel about it, regardless of how much you may be trying to avoid this story, you cannot deny that it has sparked many conversations this week. That Why the F Did I Get Married series she has that has garnered millions and millions of views all over the world has us talking. And I've had plenty of people ask me, plenty of people tag me in posts, just wanted me to share my opinion as a clinical psychologist. And I want to share some of that insight, not just as a clinician with years of experience, but as a woman with a whole adulthood worth of experience of dating, of marriage, of divorce. That this video isn't about debating, the self-esteem of Reesa Teesa or the foolishness or how she tended to just ignore these red flags. But I wanted to come and share this with you guys because there were a few things that really stood out in that series that I felt so compelled to come and share with you guys. 3 things that I believe are so common in clouding our judgment when it comes to dating. So as I was listening to Reesa Teesa's story, I couldn't help but to reflect back to my own personal experiences over the years with individuals that turned out not to be who they claimed to be. I mean, complete narcissists or compulsive liars. I couldn't help but to reflect back to stories of good friends of mine, of clients that I've seen over the years who have encountered their own lesion over the years. So many women can relate to her story. And those of you who are saying, oh, no, I can't, consider yourself fortunate because I know personally and I know professionally that there are millions and millions and millions of Reesa Teesas out here who have been silent. So if you are someone, again, that never experienced or encountered this, consider yourself lucky. I believe there are 2 people with these opinions that are coming out. Either, number one, they're individuals that have been so fortunate and blessed to not have encountered someone who is a compulsive liar or who is a narcissist. Or number 2, they're individuals that are just in denial and not willing to share their story because of the shame and embarrassment that's attached to it. I'm going to play this clip real quick of what Reesa says, and then I want to come back and touch base on all these things.
I excused away a lot of stuff that I hope the next woman who sees this does not excuse. A lot of what fueled me staying in this situation really was the fact that, number 1, I didn't want to be alone. Number 2, I didn't want to look stupid by having the relationship end so quickly for everyone to be like, we told you something was up. And number 3, I was ready to get married. And that ready to get married fueled a lot of stuff.
So she did not want to be alone. Early on in my career working with women, one of the things that I was most shocked to find out, I was young, so I didn't have a lot of life experience when I started this career, but I was so shocked to find out that it was so commonplace for women to feel this way, to not want to be alone, to the extent that they didn't even take themselves to dinner. If they had a favorite restaurant, they were waiting for someone to come into their life to take them to that restaurant. They wouldn't go to the movies by themselves. God forbid they travel by themselves. And that was one of the things that and assignments that I would give people to work on and behaviors I would challenge them to change is to start doing things alone. It's not until you gain an appreciation, a love for your own company that you'll be able to attract someone who can truly honor you fully as you deserve to be honored. So predators, narcissists, compulsive liars prey upon people with a low sense of self. And if you have difficulty being alone, if you have difficulty doing any of those things that you want a partner to do for you, then understand it's like you're sending a signal out for individuals who know that they'll be able to come into your life, leech on you like a parasite, and you're going to be a lot less likely to leave that relationship than someone who has established a strong sense of self. One of the behaviors, again, that I encourage my clients to do is to get out there and start doing the things that you desire an intimate partner to do for you. Number 2, she did not want to look stupid. That shame and that fear of judgment will keep us stuck in so many situations in life that don't allow us to fully plug into all the beauty that's waiting out there for us. To even self-disclose some of my own personal experience, I've had people that I've dated and broken up with that in the breaking up stage will tell me, well, you got a brand. You've put it out here. People know we together. How is that going to make you look? And they honestly believed that fear of judgment and shame was going to keep me tethered in that relationship. And I will say this, each and every time I was like, F judgment, F embarrassment, F shame, and walked away from something that did not serve me, my life catapulted to the next level exponentially. I kid you not. Not only just catapult me to the next level, but be able to share my story as a cautionary tale to other women, to help them avoid going through the same pitfalls. There's so many women out there, again, that won't share their stories, or they've had someone take advantage of them. And when they don't speak up, that person just goes like a little bumblebee from flower to flower to flower, just spreading their pollen and their poison and their toxins all over the world. True compassion, true empathy, true just empowerment, self-empowerment looks like someone who is able to use the shame and use that fear of judgment as something that can, again, not just empower them, but to empower others. So there's this concept in psychology that we call the fundamental attribution era. The fundamental attribution era is just a person's tendency to, when something bad happens to a person, to immediately say, oh my God, they must be stupid. They must have low self-esteem, or it's their fault. Because it's this belief that if you detach any possibility from that happening to you, there's this feeling of protection that you have. There's this feeling of superiority that you have, that, oh, that couldn't happen to me. But I'm here to tell you, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I'm the first person who try to avoid judgment at all costs, because I've lived long enough in these 52 years to know that those things we seem to be most judgmental about are oftentimes those things that come knocking at our doors to give us a different perspective and teach us more empathy in life. We live in a culture, a society that avoids judgment, shame, embarrassment so much that we'd rather stay in something that doesn't serve us than to own our truth and walk away and give ourselves a chance at fulfillment. And I'll tell you this, narcissists, compulsive liars, predators, they know this. They know this. And they know how to target individuals who have this huge fear of judgment and shame and embarrassment, which is why they're so blown away when a woman does decide to move on, because they're not used to that. They're used to that woman staying just to save face, just to save fear of embarrassment, judgment, and shame. But for those of us who are truly growth-oriented, empathetic, compassionate people, when we watch stories like Reesa Teesa, it's not judgment that pervades us. What overcame me is a sense of such just appreciation for this woman, for honoring herself enough that she was willing to put herself out there, knowing full and well all the judgment that would come to her. But for her, she needed to get it out. She said it was cathartic. She needed to purge, because she knew the longer that she stayed silent, the less likely she was going to be able to really and truly overcome this trauma. I have something else I have to share on judgment, and this is something that I've shared with many of my clients over the years. I'm a believer, and I've observed this over the years, that individuals that are the most judgmental people are people that's never willing to put themselves out there, people who oftentimes stay stuck in the same situation, jobs, relationships, and all of that in life, because they believe, because they are so judgmental, and they judging everything you put up, everything you say, everything you wear. They're so judgmental that they have this fear of doing anything that may lead to their true fulfillment, because they don't want to be judged. People are going to judge us. You want to know what's worse than shame, embarrassment, and judgment? It's living a life where you're more concerned about what that life looks like to others on the outside than what it feels like to you on the inside. When we change the story, when we take back the narrative, when we share our testimony, always say, turn your pain into profit. Turn your pain into your testimony, because it's not just you you're healing. You're helping to save so many from the same pain you experienced. And number 3, she was ready to get married. I mean, how often do we see this? You turn on social media, you see post after post of people dedicated to their future husband. They're not even dating yet. And again, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love marriage. I think marriage is a beautiful, beautiful, just sacred union between individuals. But at the same time, I believe so many people enter into dating with the goal of getting married when dating, dating, should be about collecting data. Data about yourself, data about that other person to make a decision if this is really even a good fit. When you go in with the goal of getting married, you've given up the whole courtship phase. Now the focus becomes, I've got to convince this person that I'm worthy of marriage when you haven't even convinced yourself of that. You want to attract the person in your life who's going to love and honor you the way you say you want to be loved and honored. You've got to start treating yourself that way. I just want to commend this woman, commend her for her courage and bravery, for coming forward and telling her story. There's so much healing that comes from telling the story, and I know a lot of people don't agree with that. And, we all have the choice to turn away and not listen. And I know this woman did not expect her story to take off like wildfire as it did. Bravo, Reesa Teesa. I hear you got a lot of attention of some big wigs that wants the rights to your story, and I hope you turn this pain into all the profit you possibly can.